Lalit, thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming. I think we're seeing each other for the first time on the West Coast, despite the fact that we've seen each other all around the world. So I think we've seen you in New York, we've seen you in London, if you remember that dinner, Dubai, Mussoorie, Bangalore, but never the West Coast.
Great to see you, and thank you so much for having me here.
I'd love to just maybe start with the beginning. I think you've talked about growing up in a village. Did it influence you at all in terms of eventually becoming an entrepreneur or a founder?
I grew up with my grandfather, which was like a small city, very small city, around 50 kilometers from village. First time I came to know about entrepreneurship was at IIT, when I kind of went to Bombay, came to know about Apple and Silicon Valley and a lot of things. I got this idea that you can build something and so on.
Well, eventually you did end up joining Flipkart.
Yes.
And looking back now, it also happened to be the first investment we made, actually, in India. So what are the things that you've learned from your experience at Flipkart, and how did that ultimately lead you to start a new company?
I think that was the best experience. Like I was also lucky. I joined at the time when Flipkart was just kind of taking off. And another important thing was about the customer obsession. So Sachin Bini comes from this Amazon background, and they were very paranoid about building for customer. And thirdly, of course, the talent density. Because Flipkart was leader, not in e-commerce, but overall startup scene in India, like it was the pioneer, right? So it ended up attracting the best quality talent. The customer experience that Flipkart provided, the kind of infrastructure that they built was kind of miles apart from others, right? All of us were very obsessed about customer, thanks to Flipkart, working at Flipkart and so on. And a lot of these learnings we carried on at Groww as well.
I mean, I think all four founders met at Flipkart,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of spending at this point hours and hours with Harsh, Ishan, Neeraj, and many others on the team, and I've always been really, really impressed by everybody we've met. And I think the really unique thing about the founders at Groww in particular is that it just feels like everybody is very strong at complementary things.
To be very honest, I don't think we thought about this complementary skill set. It just happened. By the way, all four of us are engineers.
Yeah.
Right, and kind of very, very deep technical and so on. And when we started brainstorming, we found that our value system matched a lot. We wanted to build something leveraging tech. I first asked Harsh, he's smarter than me. Both of us, then we got Neeraj, who is smarter than both of us. And then ultimately Ishan, who is smarter than, he is very sharp with his numbers. And so I look at product, then Harsh looks at business, and then tech, and then finance. We were excited about investing, which is financial. So we are lucky to see how e-commerce grew, and we saw that we can play a big role in financial services.
It's a very complicated business that you are operating, and to have that level of complexity, match that with the talent density you have, I think it's been really impressive. So what is Groww's mission at the end of the day?
So we are making investing simple, transparent, and delightful for millions of people in India. So India is growing. India's wealth is growing. There isn't a platform where people can manage their wealth. It's quite fragmented and so on. So we come in, we understand customers' need, and we are building this wealth platform for India. It has multiple components. Wealth is very complicated. So there is a DIY element where customers can come in, invest in mutual funds, stocks. So we started with mutual funds, and then idea was to kind of keep launching more and more products, build end-to-end wealth management solution for the customers. So mutual funds was super hit because of the customer experience and so on. There were 50 other platforms, but then Groww became number one.
Wow.
We launched stocks, again same thing happened. And then multiple sub-products within these two. Mm-hmm. We are now getting into asset management. And then now a lot of high net worth individuals, as customers who started investing with us, they become wealthier. They need more confidence in what they are doing. So we are launching this wealth management solution where we would advise them, we would provide them even more sophisticated products and so on. So in Like in short, like we are trying to build like full stack solution. Like if like the entire everything about your wealth will be with Groww.
Yeah. How did you think about the sort of cadence or approach with which you've taken to expanding into different products? And I think one observation is, of course, everybody wants to become a multi-product platform. But also, secondly, everyone wants to do it in a way where they can be market leading in a new segment that they unlock. It's a very difficult thing to actually execute on. I think when we first ended up partnering with you on the stock broker side, I think Groww was maybe number 5 in the market at the time, measured by active users. Of course, now become number 1, I think, in late 2023. What tells you like we need to go here next? And then ultimately, what do you think has enabled you to become a market leading offering?
I would say there are 3 things, Yoonkee. So one is I think customer understanding, and it's more like a feeling. Okay, there are various signals that we get, but it's very difficult to articulate what is that to kind of which is telling you that customers are looking for this particular product. And then to validate it, the second thing is quantitative data. Within our org, we have this framework where any product. So demand, one is demand, like you can see how is the demand like. So we have various channels where customers are talking about what products they need and so on. And then once customers come in, and then from numbers perspective, there is also this CAC, right? So if your CAC is very high, that means you have to push your product too much to customer. But if it is a pull product, then customers come automatically. Then we look at retention. If customers are coming and churning every month, that means product is not that good and so on. What we say is like a customer should either love your product or hate your product. So for example, when we changed, let's say we change the navigation, and then you will see like people so vocal, it sucks, it's bad and so on. And I really like it because that means your product means something to customer.
They clearly care.
Right. And quantitative framework is willingness to pay. And lastly, is like just fail fast. So if you feel something and you launch something and it does not work out, then you just shut it down. So we have like we shut down one product every year, almost every year, right? So yeah, and then kind of keep learning from the mistakes and so on.
Maybe to go a little bit earlier in the journey, was there a moment or set of moments where you felt like, oh, this is actually working?
We started in 2016, right? And we built some product and it was good, it was engaging and so on, but customer acquisition was not happening. And then we came up with some insights and then relaunched the product in May 2017. And till that time, we used to have like 20-30 customers a month and so on. It was like very, very slow. And then when we relaunched it, we thought, if we get 100 customers this month, we'll be happy. And we got 600 customers.
Wow.
So that was like one aha moment. And May 2017, we realized that this is the product that is going to work. The numbers are very small. 600 is very small number, but you could feel the word of mouth there. Before launching stocks again, we just had put some, I think, just kind of some teaser that, we are launching stocks. And then the kind of excitement that there was about Groww launching stocks was like, I think personally I had never, so I've been building consumer products for so many years, but I never saw that excitement ever before. So that was also like very strong feeling there.
I think one observation I've had over the years is you all really take a lot of pride in the customer experience, the product experience. And I think when you get something out there, it's something that you're proud of, and it really resonates with the customer. Of course, I think on the other side of it, the thing that I've always loved is you do test and iterate and launch things that may or may not work, but are also objective in terms of, we tried it, we put our best effort to it, but it's not going to work. So let's move on to another thing that we think will resonate more and add value to our customers. You have to have failures as well to have these very, very very, very meaningful successes. What are some challenging moments that you reflect on, and how have you and the team kind of pushed through those moments?
Groww is so large now. We are like 30% of investors in the country are on Groww. So even for like 5 minutes, something happens, it becomes a national news. And that is a very high anxiety period. One word that we use all the time inside the org is anti-fragile. So never let go any crisis, go waste. We have had like couple of downtimes in 2023.
Yeah.
Because of very crazy growth, and they were like very small, like this 23 period when systems were breaking a lot. We invested heavily in infrastructure. So far we have been very grateful about how they have trusted us. If these challenges don't come, you become lethargic. You become like, okay, everything is growing, everything is good, but then if something like this comes, then you kind of everybody kind of gets into a boardroom, and then they start discussing, brainstorming, and kind of working. If there is no harm to any customer in any of these challenges, I think everything is good.
Yeah, your focus on the customer, building a trusted brand, ensuring that they're taken care of over the long term, I think has always been consistent. In fact, I think you and the team have written, 2 books, multiple books?
2 books so far.
2 books so far, but more to come.
More will come, yeah.
Which you were kind to gift to me every time I've visited you in Bangalore. I think the other thing is the team has done an incredible job of building a really strong following on various channels, but in particular on YouTube with educational content. But I'd love for you to touch on what these initiatives mean to you and the company, and ultimately how that relates to what you're trying to build at Groww.
So when we launched Groww, it was like a DIY platform where customers can come in, they can pick their mutual funds and stocks and so on. And because we were not advising, we realized that people need help, and we started giving this help through content. And we did it in multiple ways. So one was we started collating links across the web of interesting content and sharing it to customer, which eventually became our own editorial. Like we used to write ourselves, and that's what became Groww Digest, which is the highest read newsletter in the country today. And the books are based on those digests. Then we did video. Co-founders like Ishan, Harsh, they themselves used to kind of put videos on YouTube. And we saw very, very solid engagement and customer demand there. Customers would ask a lot of questions. So we created bigger team, and now we have very solid kind of engine there. So that became like a part of DNA. We also started doing offline engagement. So we call this Ab India Karega Groww. Every month we would go to like 5 cities, talk to customers.
It's very constant. And
every week
the
there is a schedule. Every week there would be like 1 or 2 cities you're covering. This also helps you in understanding customer better.
As you look ahead now, what keeps you motivated by the mission of Groww? What are the biggest opportunities that you see on the horizon?
So, Yoonkee, if you look at the size of the markets, India is a very large country. Currently, what Groww manages is like very, very small component of that, right? So whatever wealth exists, there itself Groww is very small. And then the wealth has not yet touched like millions of people. So if you look at the penetration of Indian market, give or take mutual funds plus stocks together would be like 70, 80 million or so, less than 100 million. But if you look at Indian middle class and HNI segment and so on, right, a lot of customers will get into wealth management space. A lot of wealth will get accumulated with these customers. We will be kind of contributing to this growth, and we will be also kind of leading this. Every year kind of is a challenge. Every time you think, okay, if we do this, we'll be good. And then we do that, and then we realize, okay, there is another thing. If we keep kind of having these challenges every year, I think we'll continue growing, and that's what excites. Growth is exciting, right?
We've been partnered since 2021. It's been one of our biggest pleasures to be along this journey with you. Anything in particular that you've valued from our partnership?
There are many things actually. So one thing is we look you also as an inspiration, because in one way you are also managing wealth. We would like to give the same level of service to our customer if we can, right? That's the kind of So you asked me about what keeps us motivating, right? So one is of course number of customers, their wealth, but also the quality of service that you can give them. So there is a lot of times we keep discussing, okay, how can we build ICONIQ of India, right? Like eventually that's where you'll all. Secondly, like you get what we are doing, and it's what we are doing is very complicated, and our philosophies are slightly also different from how typically it happens in the industry. And I think you get it very beautifully, connecting to right folks, giving the right advice, and so on.
Yeah. I think to your point around different philosophies, this video series is called Uncommon Path. And so I do think that it's, no two stories are the same.
Yeah.
And I think what makes a certain company special is going to be very different from what makes Groww special. You know, you have built your own philosophies, your own way of doing things, but with a very singular focus on the long-term mission, I think is ultimately, you know, what makes the company so special. So, and maybe just last question is, if you could, knowing what you know now, if you could go back in time and talk to 2016 Lalit, you know, what would you say to him, or what advice would you give to him?
I will tell, like, you know, be confident. In 2016, like there were, like I remember there were some large fintech companies at that time, and when I would pitch to VCs, and they would say, you know, they are doing it, they are very large. And I mean, there was some kind of, you would feel a bit underconfident, right? So I would just tell that, and this I tell to me now also, that, you know, your past success does not matter for us. Like, you know, so our, let's say 5 products became successful, but then 5 also failed. And the next one, Grow's future depends on the next set of products. And if we don't succeed at them, we are not going to grow for growth. And also being paranoid helps.
Yeah, you are very paranoid. I have learned over time. Certainly served the company very well. But thank you for doing this. This was incredible. Thank you for sharing this story with us. And you know, we're super lucky to be, you know, partners to you and the entire team.
Thank you so much.